ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपादं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमतास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यपदास्य मद्म पादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोडकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। 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 मौनव्याख्या परकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वसिष्ठान्ते वसदृषिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे। विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राग्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमहायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। यस्यैव स्फुरणं जगत् सदा यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकमसत्कल्पार्थकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यः साक्षात्करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भोनिधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। नानाचित्रघटोदरस्थितमहादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभाति येन समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये देहं प्राणमपीन्द्रियाणपि चलां बुद्धिं च शून्यं विदुः स्त्रीबालान्तजडोपमास्त्वहमिति प्रान्ताभृशंवादिनः मायाशक्तिविलासकल्पितमः व्यामोहसंहारिणे तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. देहं प्राणम् इन्द्रियाणि चलां बुद्धिः शून्यम् इति आत्मा इति विदुः के विदुः स्त्री बालाः अन्धाः जड उपमाः अहम् इति भ्रान्त्या भृशं वादिनः अनृतं वादिनः आत्मज्ञानहीनाः एतत् सर्वं मायाशक्तिविलास कल्पितमः व्यामोह संहारिणे दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. In this we saw those who believe deha atma iti, and it cannot be, that is proven. Prana atma iti, indriyani atma iti, manaha atma iti. Everyone having a limited perception, and each one of them were very successfully refuted by the following one, so they themselves self-cancelling themselves, proving their point, but before that arguing against the previous one. That way we have come up to buddhihi atma iti kechit. So some people are saying buddhihi atma iti. And here that argument is taken up in verse number 23. We read again, buddhistu kshanika vedya gamananvita atmana pradibimbena Basita basaye jagat. Buddhihi kshanika iti vedya. With this to know, vedya to be known. What? Buddhihi kshanika iti vedya. Why it is kshanika? Why it is momentary? Kshanika means momentary. Kshanika buddhihi. Kasmat karanat kshanika buddhihi gama agamana anvita buddhihi. Gama means gamanam means to gamana, agamana. So gamanam is to go, agamanam is to come. Gam gacchati. So that is of the nature of going and coming, meaning appearing and disappearing. Ata atmanah pradibimbena jagat basita buddhihi basayet. Jagat basayet buddhihi. No doubt we know everything through thoughts only arising in ourselves as awareness of objects, and the awareness of objects is called thought. Object can be outside a material thing, an object or a person, bahya vishayaha atava, or otherwise bhavaha, various states of experiences, emotions and feelings. They are also considered as vishayaha only. Antar vishayaha, bahya vishayaha va. Swapna kale sarvam antar vishaya rupena tishtanti. everything stays as antarvishayaha, as though they are happening outside but actually inside. Inside means as only thought, and there is no external reality to them. So every object, when it is perceived, it is illumined by awareness, and that illumination of awareness is called, illumination by the awareness is called Atmana Pradibimba. Atma Pradibimba, which is called reflection of consciousness. It is like in a dark room where there is only one window through which the light is coming in. It does not have a direct sunlight. It is reflected sunlight that is actually coming into the room through the window. And once it comes through the window, it illumines the objects inside, and we are able to see. So we are able to see objects by the eyes. What we see is the reflected light. Objects are seen by eyes by the reflected light. In the same way, buddhihi sukshmatvat, among all the antakaranas, buddhi being sukshma. And that Atman is not available for all others to reflect except the buddhi. And the buddhi with the reflected consciousness is able to comprehend the objects through the eyes, through the nose and the sense organs, or as thoughts and emotions. And it comes to conclude, aham janami iti. I know. So this very awareness as I know whatever be the object, I know the pot, I know the flower, etc. This knowing is the function, it's a borrowed function. Knowing is the conditioned consciousness or fragmented consciousness. Because this knowing is depending upon what you know. If I am seeing a flower, I know the flower. I know the flower takes place as an awareness of the flower. But at the same time, I may be hearing some sound. I know the sound. I am aware of the sound. As some smell is happening, a smell is coming into my nose, that I am aware or I know the smell. They are not happening simultaneously. They happen one after another. But we may think that it is happening simultaneously because the movement of these thoughts are very quick. If I take a flower in my hand, the smell of the flower, the sight of the flower, the touch of the flower, all the three are happening apparently simultaneously, but it is not. So smell, touch and sight of the flower are three different thoughts illumined by the same consciousness, but known to me as three different experiences. By I collectively I attribute it to the flower. So what it means is thoughts of objects or awareness about objects, when the thought of the sight or the seeing of the flower takes place, simultaneously there is no experience of smell of the flower, and simultaneously there is no experience of the touch of the flower. They are happening, and one is gone and the second is born. When second is gone, the third is coming in. Therefore, gamana agamana anvita buddhihi. So since it is coming and going, and again I may see it, again I may smell it, again I may touch it, Again, I may see it. So it can happen many times, but not at the same time. Three vrittis or one more than one vritti cannot happen. If you say it happens, the problem is where is your attention then? Because consciousness cannot be divided. Akhanda rupaha atma akhanda rupatvat na avayavaha asti. It is not having parts. It never gets conditioned or fragmented or divided. The division happens in the mind, in the form of vrittis. Just like the reflection theory is what? The sunlight is one, but many pools of water make it appear there are many pools of water, many pools of light, sorry. If I have very many glass pieces on the floor and I bring in light, many light reflections will take place. It appears there are many lights. Diamond is like, that's the reason it is brilliant, you know. You take a diamond and take it to the darkest room, nothing you will see. Why? There is no light. Once the light comes into that diamond, an uncut diamond is not at all brilliant. The whole hand craftsmanship is most important there. How many cuts they have put in a limited place is what is the skill. And maximum number of cut will get maximum price also. Because the intricacy of it is that maximum number of cuts they put, that much reflection will take place. So the light is the same. Because of the various cuts, the light reflects it in different ways. So leaving aside the diamond situation, here various glass pieces will give varieties of light or many lights, but does not mean there are many lights. In the same way, awareness or consciousness reflected in every thought, it appears there are many consciousness. But it is not. When you even say I'm conscious of the sound, I'm conscious of this form, I'm conscious of the smell, consciousness remaining the same, the thoughts are different. And so no two thoughts simultaneously appear. And thus therefore, gamana agamana anvita buddhi kshanika iti vedya. It is to be understood as momentary. Thoughts are momentary. And the thoughts which are happening in the buddhi, without the thoughts, the buddhi is dysfunctional. Therefore, atmanaha pradibimbena jagat basita. Atmana pradibimbena basita buddhihi jagat basayet. The reflected consciousness, because of which it is illumining, it illuminates the world. The words means object or things. So what is proved here is kshanikatva of the buddhi. So anything that kshanikam, coming and going, cannot be eternal. Therefore, buddhihi atma nabhavati. The very fact that kshanikatvat buddhihi atma nabhavati. Now the problem is Buddhists would say, one school of Buddhists would say, Atman itself is kshanika. So problem there is that they say Atma itself is kshanika, kshanikavadin. So but then it is even though they are come very close to the point, but the understanding is then there is no eternality of that consciousness, because if it's kshanikam, then it is impermanent, elusive, and it cannot be said to be that which is eternal. And if it is not eternal, it cannot be free. It cannot be liberated. It cannot be said to be something which is time, beyond time and space, and it is not of moksha swarupa. See, the Buddhists are not interested in really moksha. Buddhists are interested to get out of bondage. That's all it is. If it is, nirvana means what? There is no presence of a fire of bondage or ignorance. Oi chahiye, bas. And that definitely is a very good step in the form of getting out of the sarvam shanikam shanikam dukkam dukkam. Yes. But then are they able to come to a point of what is called liberation in the positive sense? In the positive sense, they are able to say, this is liberation and this I am, even without the presence of buddhi. So the positive presence of I am in the absence of all things including buddhi needs to be established as a thing which is eternal, which is not the way Buddhism looks at it as nirvana. Nirvana is where all that are temporary, momentary is removed, and the absence of all that is considered as freedom, but not as a positive experience of something which remains eternal irrespective of all the temporary things. So one who has understood the underlying presence of eternal reality can still function among the temporary things without giving reality to them. That is what Vedanta aims at. So here, when buddhi is shanika is understood, next continuing in the 24th, Atmanyutpatyate buddhihi Atmanyeva praliyate Pragurdvam chasati buddhihi Swayameva na siddhyati Atmanyutpatyate buddhihi Atmanyeva praliyate Pragurdvam chasati buddhihi Swayameva na siddhyati. Buddhihi Atmani utpadyate. So now, if you say Atma, the buddhi is of the nature of gamana and agamana, going and coming. On what platform this coming and going takes place? There should be some adhishtan on which this activity of coming and going should take place. If you say A is there, followed by B, followed by C, followed by D, thought A, thought B, thought C, thought D, they should have something which is holding them, because of which A came and A left, B came, B left, and C came, C left. See, if I go into a room and nobody is there, I'm sitting there, nobody is there. I alone am. Then one student comes, A, hey, nobody has come? Okay, I'll come later. He goes away. After some time, B comes. Oh, nobody's there. Oh, no, A just came. He left. Now you sit down. No, I have to go where A is. And he goes away. And C comes. Oh, nobody's here. No, A and B came. You still sit here and they will come. Oh, is it so? No, let me go and see. Now, even though A has not met B, B has not met C in the classroom, but I know, right, that A came and went, B came and went. See, and who knows? One who is present while others did not see each other. In the same way, for the thoughts to appear, which are shanika, there must be some platform or the basis on which the appearance and disappearance of thoughts take place. Because of which I am aware of the thought that went by, and thought is present now, and thought that would be coming later. So, Atmani utpatyade buddhihi. Buddhihi vritti. Buddhi vritti. The thought the intellect appears on the adhisthana or substratum of Atman. And Atmani eva praliyate. In that Atman alone, it is disappearing also. It is like ocean is there and waves appear in the ocean and the waves disappear in the ocean. You cannot say waves came up in the ocean and went somewhere else. No. They came and appeared in the ocean water and they disappear in the same ocean water only. Similarly, Atmani eva utpatyade, Atmani eva praliyate. That's why, Kaivalya Upanishad said, Mayye vasakalam jatam, Mayi sarvam pradishtitam, Mayi sarvam layam yati, Tat atma dvayam evaham. That Atma, Advaya Atma evaham. What? Mayyeva sakalam jatam. From me alone, everything is born. Mayyeva sakalam pradishtitam. All established. Mayyeva layam yati. And tat Atma aham advayam. So, here, now having said this, in the second line he says, Prag urdhvam cha asati. Meaning what? Utpattehe prag asat. Layasya urdhvam asat. Before the birth, it is absent, unreal. After its death, it's unreal. Correct? Before the birth, I do not know. Before the birth of the thought does not know its own existence. After its death, also it is unreal. Now, somebody or something should know it before the birth, it was not there, now it has come. Now it is there, and after some it is dead, it is gone. Pragurtvam cha asati buddhihi, being unreal before and after, swayameva na siddhyati. By itself, it cannot stay. It is depending upon something else for it to be known. That's what it actually means. So, utpatti vinashavadascha anyagrahya tva niyamat, because it is anyagrahatva niyamat, it can be known only because of anyatvam, anya ashrayatvat. Anyagrahatvena anatmatvam ityarthaha. Because it being one which can be known with the help of awareness only, on the platform of awareness only that appearance and disappearance take place. Therefore, it cannot be known by itself. It can be known only from something other than it. A thought has come and thought has disappeared, can be known not by the thought, it can be known only by the awareness. So, since it is depending upon something else for it to be known, swayam na janati, tasmat na atma bhavati. Self-awareness not being there, it cannot be Atman. And also it is shanikam. That is also another point. All right. So, buddhihi na atma. So, going subtler and subtler. And now, one more point. Some people would say there is appearance of awareness in the movement of thoughts. In the movement of thoughts, there is an apparent appearance of awareness. For example, thought A has come, it is consciousness plus an object thought. Then, when it disappears, The object disappears and the consciousness of B has come. Consciousness of C has come. Consciousness of D has come. Now, even though A, B, C, D, all of these thoughts are momentary, there is an illusion of consciousness which is they said to be the subject matter. So, the Atman which you are referring to, Buddhists may say, it appears to be there in every thought, but it is not necessarily independent of the thoughts. Because if thought A is there, consciousness plus object, thought is there. Then consciousness plus B, consciousness plus C, consciousness plus C. So it appears having a thought A, thought B, thought C, thought 4, thought C, etc. Consciousness is a subject, and subject keeps on recreating itself in relationship with the object. So therefore, an illusion of consciousness in the movement of thoughts. Now, if that argument is placed, now answer to that is given here. Jnanachet purva purvasmat uttarottara sambhavah yugabat bahubuddhistvam prasajyeta kshane kshane. Buddhyantaram na janayet. Nashottaram asattatah. Jnanachet purva purvasmat uttarottara sambhavah yugabat bahubuddhistvam prasajyeta kshane kshane buddhyantaram na janayet nashottaram asattatah. Now, Jnanat jnanantaram utpatyate iti vadan vadi prashtavyaha. Now, if you say thought A, thought B, thought C, etc., need not have to have Atman as the basis, because your proposition is, the Purvapakshi's proposition is what? Purvapakshi's proposition is, there is no need for Adhisthana Atma. We are saying that Vedantin says that Atmani eva utpatyate buddhihi Atmani eva praviliyate. In the Atman alone, the thought arises. Into the Atman alone, it settles down. Therefore, there is something called Atman, independent of the thought, is present, on which only the thoughts arise and settle down. Now, why the Purvapakshi or Buddhist, the one who is standing on the Vada of the Buddhists, he does not agree to this point, is he has to accept the existence of Atman independent of the thought, which does not have, cannot be seen directly, which is incomprehensible, which cannot be a pratyaksha anubhavam, which means that he has to accept God. Now, Ishvaraha, Paramatma, has to be accepted as existing if one accepts the independence of consciousness, which cannot be comprehended by the Buddhi also. And that is not what Buddhists want, or Buddhists cannot do that. So therefore, what they say is, there is an illusion of consciousness in the appearance and disappearance of thoughts. Now, Vedantin would say, let us see one thing. How does the Buddhi appear and disappear? Uttara Uttara Sambhavaha Purva Purvasmat. If you say the thought A creates thought B, because our proposition is there is consciousness, and in the platform of consciousness, thoughts arise, the thought waves arise, like that of in the ocean, waves arise, and wave is nothing but H2O. As much as ocean is H2O, it has a form of a shape of a rise, height of water, right? In the height of the water, what you call it as a wave. Otherwise, it will be just a water only. When it becomes a wavy means what? It has some shape, a form. In the same way, consciousness is the sadhishtan, and object is the one which creates the wave. So, disturbed consciousness, as though the disturbed consciousness is nothing but the consciousness having a form. What is the form? It is not the physical form, taking the shape of the object. It can be sound, smell, whatever it is. Taking the shape of the object. That is what we call it as the wave. Now, even though the consciousness taking the shape of an object, it is not conscious. It is still consciousness only. It is only the consciousness which is taking the, as we saw, that Nana Chitra Katotara Sthidabaha Deepa Prabha Baswaram Jnanam Yasid Chakshuradikarana Dwara Bahispantade Janamedi Tame Upantam Anubadi, etc. Now, if you say, in the absence of Adhishtanam, then you have to account for how the thought B is created after thought A has come and gone. What is the origin of thought B? If you say thought A created thought B and died, before creation of thought B, thought A was there. So thought A is the cause of thought B. If that is the case, simultaneously two thoughts are there. That means at some point of time, see, it is like mother and child. Mother has to be there for the child to be born. You cannot say mother dead and the child was born. Even though for mother is dead, for the child is gone, while giving the birth, she is alive. Ask Maureen if you want to ask that. So, mother thought should be there for the child thought to be alive. Say a dead mother cannot give birth to a child, a living child. So, at some point of time, thought A and B had simultaneously existed. If yugapat buddhihi asti chet, bahutvam bhavati, bahutvam prasajyeta. Then, if two can be there, why not three? Why not four? Why not 500? Why not 1,000? Why not million? Think of it. Why should I only say the two? If yugapat together at the same time, two thoughts can be there, why stop at two? Why not three? So, therefore, you have to say, Purva Buddhi Anvitanam Uttara Buddhi Janakatve Tattat Buddhi Utpatti Kshaneshu. At the moment of the creation of the next thought, Ananta Buddhi Anuvritti Prasangat, there can be Ananta Buddhi. Endless thought can be there. Vijnana Kshanikatva Vada Hanam Prasajyeti. So then you have to accept that there cannot be Kshanikatva of the Buddhi. It cannot be momentary. Then simultaneously there can be two or more or 100 or 1,000 or zillions thoughts can be there. Which means what? At the same time there are some 25,000 thoughts. Where is your attention? To know a thing, there should be a subject and a thought, an object. Otherwise, a subject, many objects means, which are you looking at? which are you are aware of. See, even in the case of some people, like, what do you call that? They say, um, there are who are experts. And there's a particular word for that in Sanskrit also, where they can be aware of many things apparently at the same time. And they are, and the particular word is there. Anyway, so they have an ability to divide and understand the many things, and they can register things very apparently simultaneously, but it is not. Their ability to comprehend is very quick, and this is seen among people, but it is not at the same time. If that is the same time, the entire argument of Shanigatva is already gone. Secondly, awareness, which is said to be, and then it has to be said divided. And when it is divided, then it is not eternal. And that means you have to accept there is nothing called eternal, there is nothing called moksha then. So, thought A cannot create thought B, and thought B cannot create thought C. So then you have to ask the question, if thought A is dead, what creates thought B? Or what is the basis of thought B? On which it is born? If thought A is giving birth to thought B, then thought A is said to be there to see the birth of thought B, and it dies, and thought B takes over. Thought B dies. Before thought B dies, it creates a C and then dies. So thought C starts to live. But if that is the case, then you have to accept the simultaneous presence of two or more thoughts. So that is the reason why this argument does not hold water. That is one creating the other. Now, one may say, why do we need to have a cause for a thought? Thought A died, then thought B is born. So, meaning you are trying to say a thing is born without a cause. The logic will not kick there. How can there be a birth of a thing without a cause? Causeless birth. Then that means what? Something is produced out of nothing. How can nothing will be cause of something, or something can be born of nothing? From zero, anything is born? No. From nothing, absence, can there be a presence? So absence cannot create an opposite of itself. Absence cannot create presence. A presence can go into absence, but absence cannot create a presence. So your argument, there will be a flaw in your logic to say that there can be presence with the presence of a thing caused by nothing. So this is also not a acceptable argument. So these two of them, buddhyantaram na janayet nashottaram asatvatah. Asatvatah, being asat, asatvatah asatvat, nashottaram, after it is dead, buddhi antaram na janayet. Another buddhi cannot be created. After it is dead, it cannot create another. So you have to accept that it cannot create another before dying. If it creates before dying, then it is possible that ananta possible, many thoughts can be there at the same time. If we say that it is created after it is dead, that is not possible. In both ways, it is not acceptable that thought creating another thought. The thought cannot create another thought, being momentary and subject to coming and going. So we need to accept that thoughts are created on the consciousness. It is none other than consciousness limited to a particular object appears as a thought, followed by another object which is creating, which identified with that another thought is created in the Atman, and they die in the same Atman only. So this is the standpoint of the Vedanta. All right, okay. Now one person would say, no, let me propose something else. What? That Atman can be a combination of Deha, Manaha, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chittam. See, it need not have to be only an independent entity. It can be a collective consciousness. Meaning Buddhi is there, mind is there, Ahankara is there, Chittam is there, Prana is there, sense organs are there, body is there. Let us say Sanghada Atma. Sanghada means a collection and conglomeration of many things. So this is the next one he puts here. Esham Sanghada Atma Chet Ekadeshe Pratakrite Na Chaitanyam Prasajyeta Sanghada Bhavatastada Esham Sanghada Atma Chedeka Deshe Pratakrite Na Chaitanyam Prasajyeta Sanghada Bhavatastada. Sanghada Atma Chet. Esham of these, of all this, Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, everything there together, Sanghada Atma Chet. A collection of all of them put together appears to be an Atman. See, that for that matter, today's, if you talk to the materialists, they don't believe in God or anything higher. What do they say? A person is alive because heart is functioning, lungs are working, and breathing is going on, sense organs are working, brain is working, and bodies. So all put together, there is an appearance of a physical body alive because mind is there, Buddhi is there, and the individual is there, Prana is there, all the equipments are there, and other things. That is what is called individual. What is the departure then? When they disintegrate or move away from each other, death. Sanghada Atma. If you say that this collection of all these things together, there is presence of Atman. Ekadeshe Pratakrite, when you remove all of them, na Chaitanyam Prasajyeta, then there is no consciousness. Sanghada Abhavat, because the collectiveness, togetherness is no more. Tada. When the collectiveness, togetherness is not there, when each one of them are removed, then there is no consciousness there. Na Chaitanyam Prasajyeta. There is no presence of Chaitanya there. So this is acceptable for the materialists. Yeah, correct. That's what we mean. And what we mean is that there is nothing called consciousness. It is only collection of things. And when things are removed, gone. So then such person will not have the context of moksha then. See, the whole idea of study of scriptures here is to obtain moksha. If one is not interested in moksha, for him, shastram vyartham. And he won't come even to argument of any religion or philosophy also, because he is not seeker of liberation. So for such people, we don't need to even wait to argue with them. Oh, you don't believe in liberation. There is no, because liberation means what? Existence without bondage. And if you say that consciousness itself is not there, there is no anything called hell or heaven, and there is no question of anything beyond death, then There's no something to talk about with you. You go ahead and mojo bas karo. You're not stopping you. But if one believes in the liberation, he has to necessarily believe in existence of consciousness beyond death. And if you say it's a combination of things only is consciousness, when these things go apart, pradakrite, ekadeshe pradakrite, at one point of time when all of them are removed, then what happens? Then there is no consciousness, na chaitanyam prasajyeta. So nayane kshetre manasi vachi va nashte sangadasya nashtatvat. And if you say collectiveness is consciousness, if one part is missing, it won't work. Right? If the collectiveness is consciousness, if one of the part is missing, then it should not work. So what we say, na cha ayam ishta prasangaha anda badira mukha jata utar jata jatadare api jataderapi jivana darshanat. Even if somebody does not have eye, somebody does not have limbs, but still we are seeing them alive, right? So then how is that possible? Without that part, it won't work when you say. And without that part, a person is seen to be alive. Then? No, Swamiji, heart is not there means a person is dead. No. Heartless people. No, but today's world, the science is proving you can have an external heart also. Can it not be alive? Yeah. Then? प्राण चला गया तो आत्मा चला गया. We can have external prana also, right? Buddhi, I mean, brain is dead. Brain dead also people are alive. So many of them brainless people are there. So then, which limb is life? Tell me, which limb? Particular limb you have to point out. This is called life. No, that is not possible. If you say collective, then we will remove each one of them. Then we have to find out which one actually is it. By the process of elimination, we'll find out which actually is life. So that is not true. That it is not sanghadaha atma. That is also not right. Why not we say, actually consciousness is collection of various conscious beings. All living beings put together is consciousness. So many of the conscious living beings put together is consciousness. This is another argument. So here, next one is taken. There are difference between the Bhashya which I am reading and the book which Ullasa book which Rameshna Mission has got. First we'll read the mission, the Rameshna Mission version here. Binnadrigatya vipraye bahuchetana punchitam sadyo binnam bhavedetat nishkriyam va bhavishyati. The other version that we have here is Binnadigatya Vipraye. Instead of Drik, it is Dig. That's the difference here. One says Drik, another says Dig. Binnadigatya Vipraye Bahuchetanna Pujitam. Not Punjitam, Pujitam. Sadyo Binnam Bhavayedeta the Nishkriyam Bhavishyati. That is the same. Now, what is the here the argument? Many living beings, binna. Binna means different. Binna drik gati. So, if it is said that binna drik means binna, different kinds of or many different drik here to be understood as living beings. Gati abhipraye bahuchetana punjidam. Punjidam means collection. Bahuchetana, many consciousness coming together from many different living beings together, considered as consciousness. And when their movement start taking place, not all of them always together, even in a family, father is there, mother is there, parents are there, and then children are there. Put together is one single unit. When you say, do you think all living beings are doing the same thing all the time? Their gati is different. Gati means their goal or movement. So one goes this way, one goes that way, one goes that way. So then what happens? So when they start to depart from each other, Sadhyaha Bhinnam Bhavet. Sadhyaha Bhinnam Bhavet. At that very moment, there will be sudden break in consciousness. Why? Because collectively, many lives together is consciousness. When they start having their own gati, their own movement, then it will break. See, if a chariot is there and 4 horses or 5 horses are there, and put together 4 horses together, it's a chariot is going. If they are going in the same direction. Suddenly, one horse decides to go to the right side, one is going to the left side, one wants to stop, another wants to go forward. What happens to the cart? Either it will break. Say, you have a tire also in the car, left, right, and then back, left, back, right is there. Each one is going on their direction. Then what will happen? One tire wants to go this way, one tire wants to go the other way, third one. So then where does the car go? It will break. All of them have got independent powers, let us say. Or what will happen? It will stall. So Nishkriyam va bhavishyati. Nishkriyam means no movement. Kriya vihinam. There is no action at all. So you cannot say many living being put together makes one consciousness. That is also not a acceptable logic. See, in the context of buddhi also, so many different things to be thought through. So, having explained that it is not possible to consider buddhi as atma, buddhi as a vritti takes place and coming and going, and one buddhi or one state of intellect or buddhi cannot create another one, that is clear. And also it cannot be a collectiveness of many parts of the body or mind, etc. That can be consciousness. That is not possible. Or many living put together can appearance of consciousness. That is also not true. So buddhi na atma, sangataha na atma. That's why it says, Sri Balanta Jatopama's Tvahamidi Branta Brisham Vadinaha Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpidama Pyamoha Samharine Deham Pranam Apindriyan Apichalam Buddhim Cha Shunyam Viduhu. Now, the next question is, what is the size of the Atman? So, somebody would say, Anumatrameva Atma. Deha Rupa Atma. So, the form of Atman is the form of the body. This is a Jain theory is, Jainism says that the Atman is of the shape of the body. And some people say, no, it is only an atom. So we have seen in Panchadashi also, the discussion went on this elaborately. So we will take up that portion, whether the Atman can be measured in form of size. So that will be taken up in few more verses. And then finally the answer is this is unexplainable Maya, which is therefore you cannot come to comprehend Atman as this. Sada sarvagadopyatma na sarvatra avavasade buddho veva avavaseda satyeshu pratibimbavat. And even though Atman is, there, na prakashate. Drishyate na drishyate sarvatra sarvesh sarvatra na sarvaihi sarvatra na drishyate drishyate tu agrya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhihi sukshmaya buddhya eva atma drishyate. And sukshma buddhi is what is called sattva buddhi. Jnanat sattvam sambhavati. Sattva buddhya eva atma drishyate agriya buddhya. And that is finally to be taken up as Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpitamaha Vyamoha Samharanam. That's Moha Samharanam. The removal of the delusion through correct knowledge can alone reveal the truth to us. So, therefore, I salute Dakshinamoorty. So, this is how it's going to conclude. So, last class will be that on that particular point. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkhabhat Bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah.